Hey, dreamers! Welcome back to Blessing's Storyverse, where we don't just tell stories. We live them. Today's tale is full of mystery, love, twists. So grab your popcorn and let's dive into another chapter. Pretty lies and poison vows. Before the dress, the island hadn't been listed on any map Elena could find. No coordinates, no flight path, just an invite with gold foil, an NDA longer than a novella, and a one-line message. Wesley is getting married. Bring a date, or don't come. She almost tossed it, almost deleted the email, almost let him think she was gone for good. But Elena Hart wasn't the fade quietly type. She was the hold your wine, I've got this type. So she did what any self-respecting ex-girlfriend, with a grudge and a black belt in digital surveillance, would do. She bought a red dress. She hired a fake boyfriend. And she booked a ticket to the most cursed destination wedding of the year. She didn't expect secrets. She didn't expect danger. She definitely didn't expect a body. But by the time the champagne popped and the first scream echoed down the marble halls of Caldera Isle, Elena knew one thing for sure. This wasn't a wedding, it was a trap. The invitation. When the envelope landed on her kitchen counter, she laughed. Not a little chuckle. A full-bodied, you've got to be kidding me kind of laugh. Elena Hart, cybersecurity consultant and professional ghoster of feelings, held the ivory invitation like it was laced with poison. Because in a way, it was. Wesley Langston, her ex-boyfriend and tech-wild golden boy, was getting married. And not just married, he was having a week-long destination wedding on Caldera Isle, an ultra-exclusive island for the obscenely wealthy. Think yachts, caviar, and drama dressed in couture. Oh, hell no, Elena muttered. She should have tossed it. But instead, she RSVP'd yes, out of spite, out of pride, out of sheer curiosity. But she wasn't about to show up alone. So, 2 days before the flight, she made a move that would change everything. She opened a private app, one not available to the public. A digital underground for people who wanted company but didn't want attachments. Clean, quick, discreet. She wasn't looking for love. She was looking for a plus one. And that's how Jules walked into her life, tall, tailored, and trouble, with a crook smile and too many secrets hiding behind those eyes. Why me? Jules asked, lounging across from her in the airport lounge, sipping espresso like he owned the air. Because you look like someone who won't ask questions. And you look like someone who's walking into a war zone in heels. She smiled. Then I guess we'll make a good pair. They boarded the private jet 2 hours later. Destination, Caldera Isle. Mission, survive the wedding. Bonus objective, don't fall for the fake date, or the lies he hasn't told her yet. Welcome to Caldera Isle. The first thing Elena noticed was the silence. Not the absence of sound. There were gulls, waves, and the soft purr of luxury. But the kind of silence money bought. Calm, curated, unnerving. Caldera Isle was gorgeous, like someone had photoshopped paradise and dipped it in gold. White stone villas, glass walkways over koi ponds, and staff that appeared like ghosts the moment you needed anything. Elena Hart, said a smiling woman in all white. Welcome. And this must be Jules, he cut in smoothly, wrapping an arm around Elena's waist like they'd practiced it. He smelled expensive, like bergamot, sea salt, and secrets. The staffer gave a polite nod and handed over 2 gold-embossed cards. These are your room keys. You're in Villa 5. All guests are expected at the welcome. Dinner tonight at 8. Formal attire, of course. As they walked toward their villa, Jules whistled low. You didn't mention your ex was a Bond villain. Elena rolled her eyes. He's more like Bond's accountant, but richer and pettier. Villa 5 was stupidly beautiful. 2 floors, private plunge pool, panoramic ocean view. The kind of place you'd fall in love or fall off a balcony if someone gave you a little push. Jules dropped his bag and sprawled on the bed like he already owned the place. "So," he said lazily, "what exactly are we doing here, Elena? Besides drinking champagne and pretending we didn't meet in a sketchy matchmaking app." She opened her suitcase, pulled out a slinky black dress, and met his gaze in the mirror. "We're here to prove I'm fine. That Wesley didn't break me. That I've moved on and upgraded." "Ah," Jules said, nodding. "So, I'm the upgrade?" She smirked. "You're the weapon." Jules grinned, wolfish. "I like being dangerous." That night, the welcome dinner was held on a cliffside terrace. Bathed in golden light, guests mingled in silk and diamonds. Elena recognized faces from magazines, IPO launches and scandals. Then she saw Wesley, still infuriatingly handsome, still smooth, still staring at her like she was a ghost. And on his arm, Celeste Vale, heiress and social media darling. Elegant, icy, watchful. "Elena," Wesley said, approaching with Celeste in tow. "You came." She smiled. "Wouldn't miss it for the world." "And you brought Elena's date." Jules cut in, taking her hand and kissing it. "The pleasure's mine." Wesley's jaw twitched. Celeste's smile didn't reach her eyes. It was all civil, elegant, perfectly polite, until halfway through the sermon course. One of the bridesmaids excused herself to the bathroom and never came back. The disappearance. Her name was Marina Bell, model/influencer with perfect cheekbones and 1.2 million followers. She'd laughed too loudly during the toast, flirted shamelessly with the groom's brother, and sipped something green out of a crystal coupe before excusing herself with a flirty wave. By dessert, she still hadn't returned. Whispers started to circulate, light ones, casual. Maybe she got drunk. Maybe she met someone. Maybe she was fixing her makeup. Maybe. But Elena noticed something no one else seemed to. Celeste looked pissed. Not confused. Not concerned. Angry. "I don't like this," Elena murmured, her voice low. Jules leaned closer. "You think something's up? I think something's off." Her eyes scanned the terrace, catching security near the edge of the cliffs. Their expressions too still. "And I think you should stop pretending to sip that wine. You've been nursing the same glass for an hour." He smiled faintly. "I never drink on the job." "Job?" Jules met her gaze, slow and measured. "You don't think I came here just to hold your handbag, do you?" Before Elena could respond, a staff member whispered something to Wesley. His expression flickered barely, but Elena caught it. Panic. The welcome dinner ended early. Wesley stood to make an announcement. "There's been a small hiccup. Everyone please return to your villas for the night. Tomorrow's schedule remains unchanged." No explanation. No Marina. No one questioned it. That was the thing about rich people, they didn't like to look scared. They liked to pretend everything was under control. Elena and Jules walked back in silence, the moonlight casting sharp shadows across the path. "You knew something like this would happen," she finally said. Jules didn't answer right away. When they reached the villa, he shut the door behind them and said quietly, "Marina's not the first to vanish from this island. She's just the first this week." Elena froze. "What do you mean?" "I mean there's chatter. Deep net forums. Quiet whispers about people going missing during high-profile events on private. Islands always the same pattern. Vanish, no body. No media coverage. And you're what? Investigating?" He looked at her then, serious, eyes hard. "I was assigned to this. I thought you were part of it. Elena blinked. Me? You have the skills, the cover, the perfect access. She snorted. I came here to spite my ex, not join a murder investigation. Jules tilted his head. Then you're either the luckiest person here or the unluckiest. Outside, waves crashed softly. Somewhere beneath them, the island shifted, waiting. Game of Masks. The next morning was eerily calm. Birds chirped. The ocean glittered. Staff floated through the villas with pastries and pressed juices like nothing had happened, as if Marina Bell hadn't vanished into thin air after one sip of green mystery punch. At breakfast, guests pretended to be hungover instead of haunted. Elena, however, was wide awake and wired, watching the room like a hawk in Gucci sunglasses. She leaned toward Jules. You're sure Marina's gone? Jules didn't look up from his plate. Vanished. No sightings on cameras. Her room was cleaned out overnight. Someone's covering it up. He glanced sideways. Multiple someones. Celeste made a dramatic entrance, trailing silk and a slightly cooler than normal smile. Wesley followed, distracted and twitchy. Elena recognized the look he was unraveling beneath expensive tailoring. Elena didn't like it. Any of it. After breakfast, guests were herded into optional excursions, snorkeling, tennis, wine tasting. Elena opted for the wine. Less cardio, more eavesdropping. At the Vineyard Terrace, she made small talk with 2 groomsmen and a bridesmaid who clearly hated Celeste. She's always been intense, the bridesmaid whispered. Like control freak intense. Marina probably said something rude and got herself uninvited. Uninvited. Mid-dinner. With no return? Yeah, right. Eleanor's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Do you want to know the truth about your ex's bride? Meet me in the Orchid House. Midnight. Come alone. She stared at the message, then at Jules across the patio. He raised an eyebrow in question. She didn't respond. Not yet. 11:56 p.m. Elena slipped out of the villa, barefoot heels in hand, heart hammering. The island was darker than it should be. No music, no party lights. Just moonlight and the crunch of gravel beneath her steps. The Orchid House was tucked away behind a tall hedge. Warm, humid, and full of delicate white blooms and something else. Someone else. Elena Hart, a voice said from the shadows. Female. Familiar. Then a figure stepped into the moonlight. Marina. Alive. Wearing black. Holding a phone with a cracked screen and eyes full of fire. You need to leave the island, Marina whispered. Not until you explain. You're in the middle of something you don't understand. This wedding? It's a setup. Wesley doesn't know. Celeste isn't who she says she is. None of this is real. Elena opened her mouth to demand answers. But then, bang, a shot rang out. Marina collapsed. And behind her, in the doorway, Jules, holding a gun. The twist. Elena stood frozen. Her brain couldn't catch up with her eyes. Marina was on the floor, a spreading stain blooming beneath her. And Jules, the fake date with the dangerous smile, was standing there, gun in hand like he'd done this before. What the hell did you do? Elena hissed, her voice a ragged whisper. She's not dead, Jules snapped. She's wearing a blood squib. It's fake. What? Marina groaned, rolled onto her side, and peeled something off her stomach. The blood soaked her shirt, but her expression was still sharp. I had to make it look real, she gasped. Someone's watching. They always are. Elena looked between them, her pulse thundering. Someone explain, now. Jules locked the Orchid House door and stalked toward them. Marina's undercover. Like me. She infiltrated the wedding weeks ago. But something blew her cover. She tried to warn people. They started disappearing. Who's they? Marina sat up, wincing. Celeste Vale isn't just some spoiled heiress. She's a recruiter for a network that preys on the rich and well-connected. They stage weddings, galas, retreats, any excuse to isolate powerful people and remove the ones who dig too deep. Elena stared. And Wesley? Clueless, Marina said. A pawn. He thinks he's marrying up. He's actually being swallowed whole. Elena, Jules added carefully. They thought you were one of them. That's the only reason you're still standing. She took a shaky breath. So what now? Jules handed her a sleek black flash drive. There's a hidden server in Wesley's private study behind a panel in the bookshelf. We need that data. It'll blow the whole thing open. And let me guess, Elena said, already slipping the drive into her bra. You need someone smart enough to get in undetected. Now you're catching on. The next evening, the rehearsal dinner. Opulence cranked to 11. Guests glittered under chandeliers flown in by helicopter. Elena wore crimson, sharp as a warning. Jules worked the room like a politician with secrets. And Celeste? Smiling, sipping, watching. At 9:14 p.m., Elena slipped away. Past the guards, past the kitchen, into the private wing. Wesley's study was exactly what you'd expect from a man who quoted Machiavelli on LinkedIn leather. Glass, ego. She found the panel behind the books, pried it open, and plugged in the drive. The screen lit up. Files spilled out guest profiles, behavior reports, risk assessments, recruitment candidates, and encrypted payment logs. Elena copied everything. But then the door clicked. Celeste, wearing white and pointing a silencer. I warned them about you, Celeste said, voice silk over steel. You're smart but predictable. And now you've seen too much. I've seen enough, Elena shot back. Then Jules stepped in behind Celeste, silent, fast. One strike, one twist. Celeste crumpled like a fallen angel. Elena exhaled. Hard, nice timing. He grinned. Told you I was good at this. 1 week later, the headlines exploded. Elite recruitment ring busted at billionaire wedding. Disgraced heiress behind disappearances. Hero hacker couple saved the day. Elena deleted the Google alert with a smirk. She was on a beach now. Not Caldera Isle. Somewhere quieter. Less cursed. Jules handed her a drink. So, what now? She sipped. No more fake weddings. No more fake dates. She looked him dead in the eyes. Who said anything was fake? He leaned in. She didn't pull away. Just a little danger. 6 months later, the world had moved on. Caldera Isle was quietly bought, rebranded, and turned into a wellness retreat. Celeste Vale was in custody somewhere very secret, and Wesley Langston, heartbroken, confused, but richer than ever, was now writing a memoir called Crashing the Algorithm of Love. Yes, really. As for Elena Hart, she was back in New York, sipping overpriced lattes, still freelancing in cybersecurity, except now she had a very particular side hustle, consulting for agencies that couldn't officially hire someone like her. Someone messy, brilliant, dangerous. She hadn't seen Jules since that kiss on the beach, until he showed up, again on a rooftop bar in Soho, wearing black and smiling like sin. You always find me, she said. I don't find you, he replied, sliding into the seat beside her. I follow the trail of chaos you leave behind. She rolled her eyes but didn't stop smiling. What now? He pulled a file from his coat. No label, Just red string and risk. Another party, this time in Morocco. A tech billionaire's engagement. Word is, people are going missing again. She sipped her drink. And you need a date. I need a partner. Elena tilted her head, thinking. Then she stood up, took the file, and tossed her scarf over her shoulder. Well then, she said with a smirk, you better pack something nice. I don't do cheap weddings. The end. And that's another chapter from Blessing's Storyverse. If this story hit you in the feels, leave a like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because trust me, the next plot twist is even crazier. Until next time, keep living like the main character. Bye.